I want to go over a quick technique here on how to use the new mask tool in Premiere 2026. This is a requirement of one of my projects in Video Level 2, and most tutorials out there are not using 2026, so I'm just going to go through it with you to show you how it works. Basically, what I want to have happen is, as I kind of walk by here, whatever's left behind me, I want that to be my transition piece. So I go from the school, and then behind me, I'm going to have this beach scene here. So it's fairly easy to do, but there's just a few things that are not super intuitive. I'm going to start just right here in the middle there. So just an approximate spot. We'll have to animate forward and back. We're going to use the pen tool. Now, it used to be found under the opacity here. You could make a mask for the opacity, but it's gone now. So now, over here, you've got two pen tools, actually, and you might not even see this bottom one. This one makes a shape, but if you hold down this from your Object Mask tool, this one makes a mask. So it's subtle, but you got to know the difference. So you're going to use a pen mask. And then what you're going to do is just kind of trace along the back like that. And you don't want to make too many of these. If you make too many, it's a lot of movement that you have to do. And then I'm just going to extend this over here, and over there. And you can see that I've made a mask now because it gives me that kind of red look. And if you want, you can change the color of what your mask's going to be, but it doesn't really matter at this point. I'm going to keep it as that red. Here's what is important. This new section here, clip and frame. Clip means that mask is going to be static throughout this entire clip duration. Frame means I'm actually able to animate it over time. So I'm going to go to frame, and that's such an important step, or else you're going to do all this animation and none of it's going to work. As soon as you go to frame, in your effect controls, you should have an unassigned mask made, and it should automatically give you a path right here. Okay, and that path should be animated. So the keyframe animation is on, and you've got your first diamond right there. So then what I can do is, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to move forward a little bit, or sorry, forward like that. And just before I walk off screen, maybe something like that, I'm going to take all of those and I'm just going to move them over. Now, I will have to adjust them a little bit, right? So I can kind of click off them and then click like that, click like that. You can see if you have too many, like it's more accurate, but it does take you a little bit longer. Okay, now what should happen is that I now have a keyframe there. And then if I keep going forward, eventually I'm off the screen. So I might as well just go right off the screen, take all of these, and just kind of, I'm going to put, actually this one's a little trickier. I might just have to do them one at a time, or maybe not all of them at once. I just need to kind of get them all off so that mask isn't there anymore. And just get these ones. Okay, so now I've got all these keyframes. As I move back, you can see it actually moves, right? And then if I go right to the start, or almost the start, I'll take those again, and I'll just kind of put them right over here. And then you just have to kind of click off and adjust them as needed. And you can do this around the body, you could do this around a face, you could do it around a pole, you could do it around anything, really. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, so you do something like that. Now, eventually, you are going to clean this up. So you can see all these little gaps here, those have to be cleaned up. So I usually do every, I don't know, 10 or 20 frames. I just kind of move everything all at once. And then I go back and fine tune it so it actually has a little more of a tighter edge to it, right? And as you can see, that actually follows pretty good. Now right here, when I'm off screen, I'm gonna have to take all of these guys, move them off. And every time I make a movement of this, I get more keyframes in there. So it follows me like that, etc., etc. Now I'm just going to pause for a second to clean up that animation. Okay, so it's not perfect at this point, but it's pretty good for at least the lesson. You guys can always clean up yours a little bit more. But when you're done, you should have all these little keyframes. If you're not getting keyframes, it means you have not turned on frame mode here. So really important that you're doing that. Okay, but as you follow through, you should see something like that. So you've got a nice mask of the person. You can always fine tune it as much as you need to. Okay, so from here, it's pretty straightforward. What we have to do is we have to take this unassigned mask and we have to assign it to something. So the default one is just the opacity mask because that's what allows us for transparency. So I'm going to right click it, change to opacity mask. And from here, it's kind of done. You know, like it's pretty easy, right? So all of that mask that you just did is now part of the opacity, which affects your visibility. So, you know, if you did it backwards, if you kind of were masking the, you know, behind you instead of in front, you can always invert it like that. But essentially, it's done. There's other things you can do to your mask. You can feather it if you want. Like by default, it'll be at 0, but you can increase the feather, which softens the edge. It might look worse, it might look better. You just have to depend. You can even expand it a little bit. If you're not happy with how you've done it, you could trim it down a little bit. So there's just little settings in there to get it as best as possible. Technically, there's even like blending modes where you can like subtract it, similar to inverting it. You can even intersect it if you have multiple ones. Lots of stuff you can do with masks. And then, yeah, when you play through and you don't actually see that mask anymore, you get something like that. Now, you can see on mine, just because those lines are so rigid, it's not perfect yet, I'm probably going to take that mask and I would increase the feather a little bit just to kind of soften it. I think that's going to help. And I might even... I don't know if then I lose that. Yeah, I was going to adjust the expansion. I just need to clean it up a little bit. There's a few spots that don't look great. Okay. But like that. And it happens quickly. It's just a neat way to transition from one scene to another.